Hey everybody, we're getting another Butterbean feeding video here. I just threw 3 fairly large snails in the tank. I threw ram's horn snails in there. I apologize if you can't hear me. As soon as I started filming, the furnace kicked on, so that's going to probably be on the entire time we're shooting this video, if you can hear that roaring sound in the background. But at any rate, yesterday I threw 6 or 8 ghost shrimp in there, and he made quick work out of a couple of them, and he spent the rest of the evening chasing them around and hunting them. But I came in this evening and I checked, and so far we still have at least one that is still in there. He's alive and well. He was up against the filter, and I thought maybe he was dead and just stuck to the filter, so when I touched him he zoomed away, and apparently he was just feeding off of other stuff that was stuck to the filter, or perhaps just hiding up near the surface to avoid the attentions of Butterbean. So I'm hoping I will be able to keep some shrimp in this tank on a more long-term basis. I mentioned yesterday that I did at one point have a ghost shrimp in my other brackish tank before I switched it into this tank. I had a 20 long, and I had a ghost shrimp in that one for nearly 2 years, and that was an open top tank as well. It never even jumped out of the water in nearly 2 years, and eventually it died, presumably of old age. Its shell started getting cloudy, and eventually it became completely opaque and turned white. And then, of course, the next morning when I came down, it was starting to get that odd pinkish color to it, and it was dead. So hopefully one or more will be able to continue living in this tank. Tonight I threw 3 snails in there, like I said, just to hopefully give him something to keep him occupied and keep his belly full, and that'll give him a little less incentive to go after those shrimp, or the shrimp. I don't know how many are left. Oh, look, there's another one right there. You see the really small one right on the tip of that Java fern? So there's 2 that we know now are still in there, and so far that is all I've seen. I did have a couple of people suggest that I was not going to be able to breed them successfully in my snail tank because the ghost shrimp need brackish water to breed. That's not true. They can breed just fine in fresh water. The problem that most people run into is the larvae are very difficult to feed, and they starve to death very quickly. You have to either use special food that is designed for very small fry, like liquid fry food, or another suggestion is growing Java moss as like a breeding mop, but you're using the Java moss. And the reason is the Java moss, apparently the very fine shoots that are growing, that are probably too small for us to even notice at first, are small enough that the shrimp larvae can feed on them, and apparently the Java moss also encourages the growth of infusoria, and that is also something that is small enough for the shrimp larvae to feed on. And that way, by having the Java moss, you can actually raise them up until they're large enough to begin eating the other kinds of foods that the larger full-grown shrimp eat, and you can successfully breed them that way. So I do have some Java moss, and I'm going to throw some in my snail tank just so that there's Java moss in there growing along with the ghost shrimp that are in there. And I've got about, I don't know, at least 6 or 8, maybe even 10 ghost shrimp still in the snail tank. So I've got no shortage of possibilities of males and females. All I need is one of each, and I should be good to go. I should get fertile eggs, and once I get one batch, I should be, I should just have plenty from then on. So hopefully that will be the, oh, thank goodness that furnace shut off. You don't realize how loud it is until you're trying to actually shoot a video with it running in the background. Hopefully that will be the way I can do it. I already breed snails successfully for Butterbean. I know I say that like that's some kind of accomplishment or something. Breeding snails is pretty easy. But the shrimp, I don't know. I've never actually tried to breed shrimp before, so we'll see what happens. Way back in the day when I first got started keeping fish, I did get a ghost shrimp, and it was indeed gravid. It was loaded with eggs, and nothing ever really became of it. Just one day there wasn't eggs anymore, and I never really knew what happened. So looking back after the research I've done now, it's probably safe to say that the baby simply starved to death, or the larvae I should say simply starved to death as is very common when you breed the ghost shrimp. I didn't have the proper setup or the proper food or anything else, so that's more than likely what happened. So now that I know a little better, I will wait. We will see if we get another batch of eggs. If I do, I'll know a little bit better of how to treat the eggs and keep them alive once they've hatched into larvae. So make sure you're subscribed. You don't want to miss it. I will be doing any updates on that if I can. I will certainly keep you up to date on what's going on with Butterbean here and whether or not he makes friends with those little shrimp or leaves them alone or whatever. Because remember, I had one in the tank with him for 2 years, and I really seriously doubt the shrimp just evaded capture for 2 years. I really think Butterbean simply just left him alone for whatever reason. So once again, I would ask you to subscribe if you're not already. That way you won't miss any of the updates I got coming up on this tank or any of my many others. And on behalf of Butterbean, I will thank you for watching this one. And we can give him a little privacy now and let him get on with eating his dinner. So thanks again. I'll see you real soon on the next one.